Grace and peace, Apostle Cheryl Richardson. I am back. I'm hoping that Lisa can join us. Allow my viewers to request to join. Okay. Here we go. So we're going to see if this works, if we can get her on. Because I really want you to become familiar with her organization and her journey. She's accomplishing some amazing things in support of domestic violence awareness. And I think there she is. And Kelly's back. Yay, Kelly. So I said, okay, here we go. Approve. It asked me 5 different ways if I want Lisa on. I absolutely do want Lisa on. So if you're watching, share, start a watch party, get some popcorn, get your tea or whatever it is that you need so that you can absorb what it is that we are talking about. Okay, it's saying that the guest declined the live video. Lisa, what are you doing over there? Let's try that again. We always have this problem. Approve. Annie. I don't know what's taking so long. Okay, while we wait for that and to hopefully take a hold, I was sharing some statistics with you. There she is.
Here we are. I was
Yay.
so close.
Wait, listen.
Hi.
I have to share this because it's hilarious in a crazy kind of way. It's hilarious. Okay, the first time we tried to do this, we had issues, right? And
We did.
being my staunch reporter in the audience, and I appreciate it. And I appreciate it.
We did.
So today, this is what happened. I cannot make this stuff up. 5
No.
minutes before it's time to start, right? 5 minutes before it's time to start, the lawn guy decides to show up on his lawn. Right,
Oh my gosh.
and he wants to ride right past the door where I'm sitting.
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
thinking, are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me right now?
That's so funny.
So then my daughter-in-law tells him, "Oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it." She's looking out for me, right? She's trying to looking out for me. It's time for me to go live. So she said, "Oh, don't worry about it. It rained, and just come back next week." And he not good. And 3 minutes later, what did we hear? I'm like, really?
Oh my gosh. She's like, no, it needs to be mowed.
Right. Then the dog started barking. I'm like, okay. And somebody laughed. Cassie laughed at me when she was on before because I said that the dogs were gonna need prayer if they didn't stop all that noise. See, you hear the mower? You hear the mower? Now he's weed whacking right outside the door. I cannot make this stuff up. But we are going to do this anyway. That's what we're gonna do.
Yes.
Right? So I'm excited to have Lisa here. She is the CEO of Stand Up Survivor. And I just love her spirit. I just love her spirit. When you have a relationship with the Lord, you can discern people, who they actually are at the core of who they are. And I just love you. I just love you.
Yay.
Yes.
Thank you. That's so sweet. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. You know, I love what you're doing. So I'm definitely a big fan. So I'm excited to be here.
So tell us something about, because see, they know about me already. So tell us about you.
Okay. So my name is Lisa Alexander. I am a wife. I'm a mother of 3 children, the youngest being 1 year old. Do you see the bags? No, nobody sees them. And I'm the founder of Stand Up Survivor. And I started, you want me to tell them why I started Stand Up Survivor?
Why you started? Yeah.
Okay, so I started Stand Up Survivor because I'm a survivor. I was married to, you know, the love of my life at a young age. I met him at 19, married at 23. We met in church. And so I thought, well, this is it. You know, the whole idea. I was leading worship. He worked in the sound booth. So it's this whole idea that everything is going to be good, you know? And then before long, the abuse started. You know, his thing was he saw abuse growing up. And so it wasn't much. It was more of a learned behavior. And so I was married. We had 2 children. And I stayed. I didn't know it was abuse. And I think that was the kicker for me, is that I didn't know that I was in an abusive relationship. I knew it wasn't right. I knew I didn't see it growing up, but I didn't know what it was.
Okay.
And so for years, I just stayed at loss, because you hear God hates divorce. And so I stayed.
Yes.
God hates divorce. You don't hear Jesus loves me, that, but you hear more that God hates divorce.
Right.
And I didn't want to be that disappointment to my family. I was just so embarrassed. So I didn't say anything to anyone. It was my big secret. And I just tried to stay as long as I could. And I eventually ended up leaving with just my children. They were 2 and 3 at the time. And they are 10 and 11 now.
Yes.
Yeah, it amazes me, just like when I look back at that, I'm like, what a journey, it's been, because if you knew my story back then, you'd just be like, God, I know God did it. There's nothing else. But the reason I started, the Stand Up Survivor, the nonprofit, is because when I was in it, I was looking for someone to give me an answer as to what I was going through. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't find anybody. That was going through what I was going through or understood what I was going through. And so I knew that later on, I knew that I wanted to start something that I would be able to walk with people through their journey. Mm-hmm. A lot of people that I meet are still in domestic violence situations. Right. They're not ready to leave. Right. And I'm not here to judge that. I'm just here to help keep you alive. Right. Right. And so yes. In the interim, because you leave when you're ready.
You leave when you're ready.
You leave when you're ready.
And you don't leave until you are. That's true. Yeah. That is so true.
And so that's kind of it in a nutshell. I ended up leaving. My children were 2 and 3 at the time. I had been in school, but he didn't want me to go to school. He thought I was doing this and doing that with the professors. It was just all this crazy delusions that he had. And so at the time I didn't have a bachelor's degree, but I went back to school. I started raising my children on my own. Mm-hmm. I got assistance through a nonprofit. I live in Florida. And they just were really supportive. My family, my parents were really supportive. I went back to school. I got my bachelor's degree in psychology. It was one of those things where, when you're in an abusive relationship, they tell you everything you can't be and everything you can't do and everything you won't be. And it gave me this drive to be everything that he said that I couldn't be and more. And not just because he didn't say it, but because I needed to believe that about myself. Right. Because in abuse, they break you down to the lowest points of yourself. And then I went and I continued for my master's degree in counseling psychology. And I finished all my doctoral work. I'm writing my dissertation now, Lord Jesus, on domestic violence in the Black church. Yes. And so, it really it's been a journey. But it's definitely one that I can tell my children that I survived. I did it anyway. And so I meet ladies all the time. Oh, I could never. I said, you absolutely can. Yes. With nothing to your name, you absolutely can. Yes. So yes, that's a little bit of it in a nutshell.
Well, thank you for sharing that. There's several things that you said that I find very interesting and I think are very, very pertinent. Number one, this whole idea that we have in the church, whether it's a Black church or whatever complexion church it is, okay, that this mystical thing that we do in our heads about relationship and what God expects of us, his expectation as interpreted by other people. Because when you read the word for yourself, you come and understand, wait a minute, my life is not supposed to look like this.
No.
That I know for me, I felt like I went to sleep, right, and woke up in the middle of this horrible movie. I'm like, whose life is this? Whose life is this? And how did I get here?
And you're living it every day.
Every single day. And it's like, how do I live here? And so, there's the isolation, there's the jealousy, and all of these things that, especially if you grew up in a home that was fractured at all, all of these things that you may have been starved for as a young person, as a child, the affirmation, I'm really concerned about you and I've got your best, and all of these things that we feel starved for are typically what the abuser will hone in on. It's like a shark and prey. They just they have it's like a heat seeker.
They have a radar.
This is a broken person, right?
They do. They have a radar.
They know, they can smell it. You hear me? So this is a freebie for all y'all listening, male or female, right? If you find yourself attracting a certain kind of individual, you need to really do some introspection. What is broken in me that I keep attracting lunatics? What is broken?
Yeah, it's true.
What is
and I think it's important too. it's important too that, after you're out of an abusive relationship, to make sure that you don't go back into it, you take the time to heal, because you're still broken. You're probably more broken than you were in the first place. You're definitely more broken. And so the next person let me tell you how I meet woman after woman after woman who, oh, well, he rescued me, or he saved me, and I'm like, no, you were still so broken, and he saw the brokenness,
Right.
And that's what that was. He saw, and then they're in another, it's a cycle.
Right.
The relationship after the relationship.
They need, and here's another red flag. If they need for you to be broken, if they need for you to be depressed, downtrodden, all alone in the world, run. Okay, just run. If he shows up with a cake, if she shows up with a cake, run. Run. Because they need for you to be broken. So what happens when you start to gain strength?
Woo.
They go to work breaking.
They don't like. Correct.
They need you broken. They need you broken.
Correct. And so you need them. It's a codependency. So you in turn need them. You know.
Yes. And so it's the dynamic is once you've been in it and you truly get out of it, it is crystal clear to you what was going on. It's like, okay, now I see how that happened. Now I see. But it's important that we not hide in the church. And I'm going to say this, and this won't be popular, and those of you who know me know I'm not really worried about that part, right? I'm going to say it anyway, and I'm not going to stop saying it, is that we have many ministry leaders who are guilty of perpetrating domestic violence on their spouses.
Absolutely.
And on their children.
Absolutely.
I'm going to say it again. We have many apostles, prophets, all the fivefold folk, ministers of music, all of those guilty of perpetrating domestic violence on their family, on their partners. And it's so check this out. So you're in domestic violence, right? And you go to your pastor, who after the benediction is his own wife. What kind of advice you gonna get from him or her? What kind of advice you gonna get? They're gonna tell you to submit and wax all deep and mystical on you. All right. And so one of the things that has me passionate about this, because our histories are our histories. So I didn't just develop this history. I've had this history, okay? And I can tell you some stories I can't even believe myself. I can't even believe it. But I'm thinking, what in the world? What was all of that?
Wow.
You know what I mean? What was that? I've had the front door kicked in by SWAT. I'm talking about stuff I didn't know nothing about. SWAT. Kick the door in. Lord said, stop. I'm walking toward the door. He told me to stop.
Wow.
I stopped, and then in slow motion, just like in the movies. I'm not kidding you. The came off the frame. I think I could count every nail that went flying through the air in slow motion.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm looking at like 6 guns in my face when they got through doing all that.
Wow.
Because of something the other person did. Okay? Right. And so you'll find yourself in the middle of all this craziness and not even know how you got there. But there's life on the other side of it. There's life on the other side of it. The thing that really put a spark in me about it was back in April of 2017, there was a shooting in San Bernardino, California. Karen Smith, she was 53 years old, beautiful, seems like just an amazing person. Her husband, they'd only been married a few months. Her husband went to her workplace. He was a special education teacher.
I remember this.
Kids in the classroom, 2 teachers' aides in the classroom. He killed her in front of all these kids. Shot 2 of the children. One of the boys, an 8-year-old boy named Jonathan Martinez, he died from his gunshot wounds, right? All of this happened in a classroom that's supposed to be a safe place. There was something about that, and then in reading about her, studying about her, and thinking, this is a woman who loved people. Listen, church folks. She was active in her church. Everybody loved her. She loved to sing. And she died that way in the classroom. So what is it that we need to know?
What did we miss? What we missed something.
What did we miss? Right? How do you reconcile that with a loving God? And I'm in the church. I'm not outside the church cutting up. I'm in the church. I'm actively engaged, respected in my community. Everybody loves me, and this can still happen to me. And this can still happen to me. And church folk need to understand this can still happen, and it's happening all the time. It's happening
Absolutely.
all the time.
Absolutely.
And so that was a catalyst for me just because of who she was. Just because of who she was. Just like that.
Yeah.
From a
Yeah.
from a natural standpoint, if you want to get deep and mystical and spiritual and, then she should have had this like force field around her, and the bullets should have ricocheted, and none of this would have happened. But that's not life.
It's not.
That's not life.
It's not.
Now,
It's not.
further investigation reveals that he had a history of domestic violence. He had a history of weapon charges. Now,
Of course. Of course.
So how does our faith walk? How does that contribute
Right.
to us finding ourselves in a situation like that?
Mm-hmm.
I know what I think.
And
you think.
And it didn't start overnight. He didn't wake up and say, "Oh my goodness, let me go to her job." No, it's been going on. It's been happening in one shape, a way, or form, or the other. And then it ended in that. So at what point did she confide in a pastor? Did she confide in a counselor? Did she ever talk to anybody? Did anybody ever know what was going on to be able to offer any help?
Right. So there's that. And then here's the other thing that happens. Okay. All right. Somebody got my back out there because I'm gonna say it anyway. Here's the other thing that happens. Because we are people of faith, right? And because we believe God, and because we're whoever we are in the church, and because the angel of the Lord encamped round about those who fear him, all these other scriptures that we excuse things that we should not excuse.
Absolutely true.
But when we're taught from a traditional standpoint that God can save anybody from anything, and it doesn't matter how bad, does not mean you're supposed to marry him. Okay, let me just say, you let them be delivered, and don't you marry them. How about that?
Let them be delivered over there. Let them be delivered over there.
Right. Yeah. Let them live right for 10, 12, long time. All right. Because oftentimes, especially when it escalates to murder, suicide, as you just said, there's other things that have been going on. And typically it will start off with name calling and insulting you.
Absolutely. Verbal abuse. Absolutely.
It starts there first, and he had a bad day. He got dropped on his head at birth. He saw his parents do it.
That's us. Now that's us making excuses. That's us. We voluntarily do that.
Right. Yeah. So we co-sign and we make it okay. And really what they're doing is testing limits at that point to see how far that they can go. Because whether the perpetrator is male or female, you've got to be ground down enough to tolerate me punching you upside your head.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
If I haven't broken you down enough, you might get up and wrap something around my head. See?
Correct. And so to make sure that doesn't happen, I'm going to break you down enough to make sure that you're under my control.
To make sure that you're under control. And to make sure that you stay there. And to make sure.
And I'm going to isolate you so that you can't call anybody. Or if you do call them, they're not available, or we live too far.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or you're too embarrassed. So it's a progression. It's a progression.
It is a progression. But it's pretty, the thing is, and there's nothing special about it. It's what every abuse victim experiences.
Absolutely.
It's what every abuse victim experiences, And so I want to go back to something that you said, because you made a really good point regarding getting out of one relationship and maybe getting into another one too quickly. Okay. So you can expect to feel lonely. You can expect to feel sad. You can expect to feel all of these things. It's being able to sit with those feelings, not deny them, because there's other thing we do in church. This is why we cannot heal. We deny it. I'm not claiming it. Well, I mean, it doesn't change you, right? You feeling it.
Correct.
And God is able to deliver me and keep me through what I'm actually feeling.
Exactly. And he's okay with that. He knows how we feel. It's the things that we tell ourselves. You're not claiming it. You actually feel it.
You feel it.
And he feels it with you.
He feels it with you.
And I think the thing is, we don't sit in it long enough. We try to, let's just get over it. Right. You have to sit in it. You have to mourn it, and I always say, for me, like a divorce was like a death. Yeah. I literally have to mourn, because, when you get married, you have visions and dreams and hopes and everything. Yes. And when you get divorced, that's dead. That's gone.
Yes.
And now you have children, and their father doesn't live in the same house, and you have to explain this to them, and it becomes this whole death of a dream. That's how I call it.
Yes.
And I always say, like, I had to mourn it as though it was a death, a funeral.
Yeah.
I had to process it and heal from it, and it hurt. It wasn't
right.
comfortable, but we don't want to sit in that. We want to get in somebody else's arms or listen, talk to someone else to comfort, and not sit in that, the reality of that pain.
Right. And what we really, if we were thinking clearly, ought to be concerned about anybody that finds that attractive.
Oh my goodness, we should.
Jacked up, hot mess emotionally. And
when you don't,
that's attractive how?
Yeah. Oh, but he's so sweet. Oh my goodness, he loves me as I am. No. He sees that you're very vulnerable, and he wants to take advantage of that in this moment.
Advantage of that. That's right.
Yeah. Let me heal first. If you still like me, let me heal, and I'll get with you in a year or two. Let me process.
Right. And you know? You won't even be the same person, so you may not even be attracted.
You won't. Correct. I will not be the same. No, you won't be the same person.
You know, you will not be, and you won't need what you think you need right now. You know,
it'll be totally different.
Completely different. And you'll know really that you're ready to move on when you are truly okay with being by yourself.
Yes. I had to
okay
learn that, like, go to the movies by myself or go to dinner by myself. And at first it was gut wrenching. And then I'm absolutely going by myself, you know?
Right.
And it's a progression. But I think that, like I said, I think you said it perfectly, especially in the church. You know, we want to claim this and claim that. It's not as though we shouldn't. But God has allowed us to heal, you know, and I love talking to you and sharing with you, because you have the mental health aspect and you have the spiritual aspect. And I think people over spiritualize stuff and not realize God has given you counselors and people that can help you and walk through the journey with you.
Right.
You know?
Right. And his word even says that in a multitude of counselors, there is safety. You know, so we need to do the whole thing and not selectively choose which of the 66 books we think apply to us.
Well, amen.
And I agree. And not misappropriate scripture. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
People say, well, God hates divorce. Well, he's not really excited about you punching folk in the face.
Yeah, he's not a big fan of abuse either. No. And I always say, my thing with God loves, and it's like one day I just got this. God loves you more than he hates divorce.
Yes.
And when I tell you that thing freed me.
Yes.
It freed me. Mm-hmm. Well, he loves me. God loves you more than he hates divorce. And it freed me.
That's it.
And I had to sit in knowing that he didn't create me to live in this kind of pain and turmoil. No. You know, because domestic violence leads to death.
It does.
That's what I said.
It does.
You know, we can sugarcoat it. Oh, it's going to be really. No, you either leave or something horrible happens. And that's just the truth. We're in 2019 and you and I talk about, listen, we have to do something about it, because every time we turn on the television, it's a murder, suicide. She's dead, something all the time. Children are being involved now.
Right.
So at what point do we say enough is enough? I'm not going to sugarcoat this for you.
Right.
You know?
Right. And I saw a study where you mentioned children, that even when you talk about child abuse, 40% of children interviewed say that there's domestic violence in the home.
In the home. Absolutely. Yep.
So even if
absolutely,
and they can be the fact that they're being exposed to that they are viewing that is so damaging. Mm-hmm. It is.
And they're learning. Oh, well, dad hits or mom hits, and that's what life is. That's what I should do. When I want you to do what I want you to do, I'm going to hit you. Or this is a way for me to control you. You're literally teaching them what to do in a relationship.
Mm-hmm. Right. And so it's and I have people reach out to me all the time, as do you, and they'll share these horrible stories, right? Complete with photos. You know, I jumped out of a window to get away, and my vertebrae was broken, and I didn't go to the doctor for a week because he wouldn't let me, but I don't know what to do.
Yes.
So for those of you who have people around you who are struggling with this, number one, you need healthy boundaries.
Yeah.
Some people like to refer to it as tough love, but you need healthy boundaries, because honestly, I can't help you if I let you kill me in your indecision. The average woman leaves 7 times before she makes it private. And that's average.
Yeah.
Some folks, it's longer than that. The problem with that is, which time will be the last time they have a chance to leave? That's the problem.
Great question. And the fact is, you never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
So you leave the first time. before you leave at all, they believe you're not going anywhere because they believe they've got that kind of control that you won't even consider it, right? Because you're afraid, or because you're so enamored of them, or because you're so confused, or whatever. After you've left the first time, they now know that you're capable of leaving. So now it's about, how long will it take me to draw them back in? And so every time you leave, whoever I'm talking to right now, every time you leave, you provide them with more information about how to gain control of you. What it takes for you to finally leave, what it takes to lure you back in.
Yeah.
How long will it work this time? How long will she or he stay this time? Right? So then you leave again. So now they know, well, okay, last time they left, they stayed gone, overnight. But this last time it was 2 weeks. It looked like they might be getting serious. So now the intensity of the abuse increases.
Absolutely increases. It absolutely increases because they know their control is maybe lessening less and less. Yeah, and you're not going to leave me. So the statistics say that that's the worst time when a survivor decides that they're ready to leave. It's the most deadly time for them
when they're ready to leave. Which brings me to this point: do not, and those of you who are not mental health professionals, because everybody isn't, right? But those of you who are in a position where you're advising people, the worst thing that they can do is to make a public service announcement about the fact that they're leaving. That is the worst thing that you can do. Do not let those words escape your lips. Don't say it.
No.
Don't say it.
Don't make an announcement. Don't tell anybody.
Don't do it. Don't do that. Don't do that.
No.
Many
but
people,
you know what? And how many stories you hear, or you tell your brother, and then your brother's best friends with his friend, and then his friend tell. Let me tell you, we're not making this stuff up. This is real life stuff.
Not making it up. Not making it up. You can't tell. Listen, anybody who is connected to him or her, related to him or her, I don't care if y'all just made cupcakes together, okay? I don't care if you played in the sandbox together, connected to them, afraid of them, easily intimidated by them. You cannot be connected to these people and escape safely. You cannot do it. And if you get out, you won't be safe when you leave if you're connected to these people. So you've got to be willing to disconnect altogether. I don't care if it's your apostle, your pastor, your bishop, because my question would be, with all of this discernment that's loose in the church right now, why can't we see this stuff?
Well,
why can't we see this stuff? Why is it that God can tell you that I'm going to get a new car? He can tell you I'm going to get that promotion. He can tell you these things, but he's not able to tell anybody that claims that they have a relationship with Christ. He can't alert anybody in their spirit that something's wrong with you. There's something wrong with that. And so
there's a disconnect.
Our focus, we're too self-focused. We want the accolades of men. There's too much emphasis on self. We can ask, well, how are you doing? Do we even listen to the answer?
Yeah, guilty. You're so guilty of that.
So anybody that's interacting with me, I might give you a pop quiz after you ask me how I'm doing, right? We're going to talk for about 10 minutes, and I'm going to ask you, how did I tell you I was doing? This to see if you even heard what I said. Did you even hear what I said when I responded to that question? Did you listen? Did I say that I was okay, but that didn't feel congruent? It didn't feel right? It didn't feel sincere? So God will absolutely give us indicators that something is wrong, but we are running along at such a fast clip that we're not listening. We're not tuned in.
No. But to piggyback off of what you said earlier about having some type of safety plan. No one needs to know exactly what find an advocate. And I'm going to piggyback off of something with that too. Someone who knows what to do, the skills to be able to help you to get out. And everybody doesn't need to know. You just have someone who can help you create a safety plan. Number one. Number two, I was going to say now, gonna step on some toes here, but
go ahead.
I see you like stepping on toes. And this is just something, just with writing my dissertation and doing my research on the pastoral, talking about domestic violence and things like that, we have to admit at the ministry level that everyone is not equipped to help survivors of domestic violence. That's right. Please don't tell her to go back home. Please don't tell her to just submit. You are sending her back into a torture chamber or to be killed. Or it just blows my mind that because, you have the title and you're of course, and just because you're a pastor doesn't necessarily You're equipped to be able to help them find safety. It's just not have a referral somewhere in something in your church that refers you out to a shelter or domestic violence advocate or someone in your church that is equipped to help survivors,
Right.
because we're sending them back home to torture. Just submit, just do this, just do that. Maybe you or couples counseling, forget it. I'm not even gonna get started.
Please. Yes, please.
Oh, couples counseling.
One of my pet peeves. We say, well, you should come to the church, but who in the church is qualified?
Correct.
Don't get mystical on me and talk about Jesus. I cannot. What makes you qualified to address that? You know what I'm saying? And so we've got to educate ourselves.
It's so intense. It's deadly. It's so intense and it's so serious. It's not a couple's problem. It's an individual problem. So when you try to put an individual problem into a couple situation, it's not the same thing.
And you don't do couples counseling with the victim and the abuser.
You don't.
Now
we need a billboard. We need a billboard that says that.
Yes. Do not.
Because you know how many people I talked to that said they just feel completely re-victimized when they get in the room.
Because they are.
Of course. Because all they're doing is talking about everything they do wrong, what they don't do. You know what I mean?
Right. And then they're going to catch it when they get home. They're going to catch it when they get home.
Goodness.
They're going to catch it when they get home. Okay. In the car, probably.
It's just not safe.
No, it's not
safe for them at all.
It's very, very, it's dangerous. And we really, really, really need to stop that. Something that I shared the first time I did this broadcast a few months back. And this was another reason that I'm so passionate about things when God does give me an assignment about something, because I understand the seriousness of it. But this young lady came to me and she was talking about the fact that her husband was cheating on her. And there's no appropriate way to cheat. Okay, cheating is cheating and it's wrong and it's sin and blah, 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 blah. But he wasn't even being discreet. I mean, he was just like being seen all over town with her and, running into people from the church and you with this woman and everybody know who your wife is.
Wow.
That's not her, right? So she's really all this. So she told me she was going to go talk to her pastor, right? Everything on the inside of me said, do not go talk to that man. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. And I had to ask God to forgive me because I didn't pay any attention to that, because we were taught traditionally, you don't tell anybody, don't talk to their pastor, right? That's not a right? Pure tradition, right? I'm not proud of it. I'm just being transparent. So I got that alarm on the inside, but I didn't respond to it because it was crashing into what I've been taught in terms of, stay in your lane, and that's her pastor and that's her bishop, especially because she wasn't even a member of our church. It was a different church altogether.
Okay.
So she wouldn't talk to him. And when she came back, she called me and informed me that she was going to kill her husband. And then she was going to kill her children. Oh. Very calmly, she told me all this. She's going to kill her children, and then she's going to kill herself. She's going to kill her kids because she didn't want them to be here without anybody to take care of them.
This is after talking to pastor.
After talking to her pastor. She was not in that condition before she talked to her pastor.
Wow.
She was angry and upset because he was cheating on her, right? But she wasn't talking about killing nobody. She was not doing all of that. And so I remember calling a friend and asking him to be a diversion because I had to get over there to her. Because I didn't know what else to do. And I think I was going through school to become a therapist. So I wasn't even a therapist yet. I'm just thinking, what? Wait, no. So I march over there and demand she give me this gun. It turned into be a shotgun. It was a shotgun.
Wow.
My kids look at me like, okay, so mama has a shotgun. So, but anyway. But she gave me, but it upset me. Because,
perfect example.
Right.
Perfect example.
She should have been better. Or she should have been connected to resources. She should not have been
correct
after talking to her spiritual leader. She should not have been. And I never forgot that. I never forgot it. So when people start to provide counseling and advice, right, and they're not qualified to do it, it's upsetting to me because you are playing around in somebody's life. You're practicing in someone's life, and you have no idea what you're doing. You have no idea what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? And so that would have been a mess had she done that. That just would have been, and I never,
oh my goodness,
never forgot it. And in another instance, there was a young lady. This was in a different state. Altogether, I think I've been saved maybe 5 minutes. I don't know, not that long. And she would come to church, right? And she would come to church with this guy that she was dating. And then it turns out that she had moved in with him, and everybody was fixated on what she living with him, and they shacking, and that's sin, and blah, blah, blah. The next thing I know, we get a call that he has shot and killed her in her sleep. Now I'm trying to understand why couldn't nobody figure out that this was gonna happen. I never forgot that either. I never.
Oh
my
God. So when this, so we were worried. We were worried because they were shacking up. We weren't so concerned about what may be going on in the dynamic of the relationship. Right. Oh, okay.
You see what I'm saying? And so the other thing that I think is happening in the church is we focus on all the wrong things. We're focused on what people are wearing. We're focused on if the man is wearing earrings. We focused on if the skirt is too short. We focused on if the dress is too tight. And we're not.
And 1 in 3.
So
1 in 3.
Right.
1 in 3.
1 in 3.
1 in 3.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy. And
in the church.
In the church.
In the church.
Right. You know?
Yeah. And you know, something you said earlier too about how many, you know, people in leadership positions are abusive. Who's the pastor's wife going to go to?
Right.
We don't have the resources in place for the, you know, parishioners, but so we definitely, what is she going to do? Who's she going to tell?
Right. So now, listen, see, I've had a strange life. I had a pastor who years ago, right, was charged with having his wife killed.
Wow.
So imagine seeing your pastor on the front page of the newspaper in handcuffs.
Wow.
Right? And you in the church and you are doing all you know and you giving in the offering and the church is growing and he did what? And what was crazy is the Lord let me know that he had done it.
Wow.
I knew he did it. I knew he had it done. I didn't know I was a prophet then, right? I didn't know why I knew this.
Wow.
I knew it. And I knew that he knew that I knew.
That you knew.
I was like, and I couldn't
wow.
see the person that I should have been able to trust with that information. Thought, oh no, you're just making that up. And I'm thinking, how does it benefit me to think this about my pastor?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm thinking, okay, so she was killed while we were in Bible study. So I don't know whether to go to Bible study or stay home. What am I supposed to do? Crazy.
Lord
he was
have mercy.
To life in prison.
Wow.
Months later, he was sentenced to life in prison.
Wow.
But even from the pulpit, I remember he would throw off on me. He would refer to me in his sermons. And at first I thought it was just me being paranoid. And then one of my friends came to visit and she said, he sure say your name a lot. I said, okay, so it's not just me. It really is.
Wow.
In an attempt to control, you know what I'm saying? To keep me keep me in check. So he ended up getting sentenced to life in prison. So all of the things that happen in society at large we have them in the church. The church is a microcosm of society. It is just that simple.
Yeah.
It's just that simple.
And church is a place where people who are hurting and need healing and are suffering go. Right. You know, so but we're missing that gap when it comes to domestic violence, I think, because it's so taboo. Right. You know, it's so taboo. And even in the research was talking about how it's difficult for those in leadership positions to not necessarily quote unquote discipline, but address it because they're living that kind of lifestyle themselves. Right. Or they have their own, maybe they're cheating. They're not abusive, but they're cheating. Right. Or, you know, so it's tough. They feel that they can't address it because they're in their own sin.
Right.
Of sort.
Right. And the thing
so
is, and that cheating, really, the cheating is actually a form of sexual coercion. So even that is abusive. Even that is abusive. And then the cheating and then letting you know that they're cheating. And they're going to continue to cheat unless you do X, Y, and Z. And they're cheating because...
And they know that you know.
This, and that, and the other. You know what I'm saying? All of that is abusive. It's all
and they know that you know.
And they know, right, it's right. And all of it is abusive. And so we have just got to do a better job, I think, as a society, because this is an issue worldwide. It's not even just here in the United States. This is an issue worldwide.
International. It's crazy. Yeah, and it's bad. It's really, really bad.
It's bad. It affects, generations to come. When you think about.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. It's about breaking the cycle, and you have to break it. You have to break it because kids don't live what we say. They live what we do. So what actions are we showing for them for them
Right.
to no. If we're showing them, when you get upset, you hit your mom or you curse her out or you throw her or throw something.
Right.
Like you said, it starts with verbal,
Hmm.
then maybe taking your phone and breaking your phone,
Right.
or locking you in the room, or something like that, or not letting you go out. It starts with little things,
Right.
and then it progresses.
Right.
I like to use the example with some of my clients that I talk to. So say, for example, I'm sitting across talking to you and I hit you today, right? You don't do anything.
Right.
But guess what I'm going to do tomorrow?
Right.
I'm going to hit you twice, probably.
Hmm.
You don't do anything again. And what you're doing is giving them permission to begin to treat you and continue to treat you the way that they're doing. Like, oh, I never thought. Yeah, because you give me permission. You didn't stop me. You didn't say anything to me. You didn't get up and leave me.
Right. You didn't protest it at all. And the thing about this cycle, when we're talking about domestic violence, is if those two entities stay together, it will increase and it will
Absolutely.
continue over time. Now, for
Absolutely.
some people, you may go 2 or 3 weeks before you have another incident. For some, you may go 6 months, 7 months, 8 months.
Yes.
But there will
Yes.
be another one.
Mm-hmm.
There will be another one.
And you won't know when. So therefore, you're walking on eggshells
Right.
for the next 4 months, hoping that nothing occurs. But you're not your authentic self. You're not who you really are,
Right.
because you don't want to say or do something that would upset them.
Right.
So
you're living kind of imprisoned. And so, what do you
yeah,
think?
absolutely.
What do you think the biggest challenges that an abuse victim faces, just in your experience?
I think having a voice and putting knowledge to what they're going through. I talked to so many women who said, I didn't know what it was. I knew like it wasn't right.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it didn't feel good. Like, for example, my parents have been married for 50 years this year, 50 years. My dad is the calmest person you'll ever meet. They have a great relationship. Yet I ended up in years of an abusive marriage. How does that happen?
Right.
I wasn't able to put a word abuse to what I was going through.
Right.
And so that's why I title my nonprofit Stand Up. It's finding your voice. And I think one of the things is, if they knew, so it's education. I would say education is one. They don't know.
Right.
And you say, well, somebody punched you in the face. What do you mean you don't know? Well, they were upset. They had a bad day. They had a little bit too much to drink. We start to make excuses. Yeah, I think finding their voice and then thinking maybe it's not so bad. It's not that bad. I really love them. I want them to change. We've been together so long. We have children,
Right, right. And one of the things that I like to say is, no matter how long you've spent making a horrible decision, don't stay in it because of the time that you've invested. No. That is no reason to stay. It's not a good reason to stay. And all those people that are telling you go home and God will work it out, you tell them to go home with them.
Yeah. How about you try it out for one night and you let me know how that goes, because I almost died. So no.
Yeah, I almost died, and I'd rather
no.
And I had the SWAT team kicking my door, and I prefer not to live that way. That's more excitement than I care to have in my day-to-day life.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. All right. So,
and I think another one would be like, where do I go? What do I do? What do I do now? He's all I've ever known. The relationship is, I have kids. I don't work. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I don't have a car. I don't have any money. That's honestly the majority of the things that I hear. And I get it. It's true. You're absolutely right. I understand you have no money. I understand you have no job. I understand he's all you've known. I understand you have children. I'm not going to minimize that,
right.
But you can do it anyway.
Right.
You can survive anyway.
You can survive.
You can leave anyway.
You can, matter of fact,
you know what I mean?
Then you can live. Then you
can live.
Right.
I would rather, and it's so funny because I remember when I left, I had my 2 children in the back of the car, and the car was full with just stuff. All I had was and nothing else in the home that I was able to leave with. I left with nothing else. I got nothing else out of a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. That was it. Mm-hmm. But when I tell you I got my life, I didn't even realize that I wasn't living. You know what I mean? And yeah, I didn't have an education. I didn't have anything, no job. I had nothing. Best decision I ever made. Right. Best decision I ever made. And you have to be willing to leave with nothing.
You have to be willing.
You'll get it back.
Nothing. Right. And you have to.
You'll get it back.
Right. And to be able to understand that really what you're choosing between that person and that hell, because that's what it is, and your destiny.
Yes.
The purpose for which you were even born.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It's like
and life.
And life is.
That's not living.
life itself, you know. And so it's you've got to be willing to leave with nothing. That's
Yes.
the absolute truth.
And you know, people, that's so painful for people to hear. It's just like, nothing. This is my house. I don't want to leave my house. This is my car. You're right. And you can stay and you can keep it, but you know what that life looks like.
Right. And that's assuming you
I
continue to live.
That's it.
There are people
Because you know, domestic violence just gets worse. Period. Point blank. No, we can't sugarcoat it. You know, so you have to be willing to leave with anything. It's one of the hardest things that people, they can't swallow that.
right,
You know.
right,
So I journey with them until they're ready to go. I'm not going to make you do anything, but let me tell you, you call me and you're ready. Listen, I'm ready to go with you.
right,
You know what I mean?
right. Let's do this. And
Yeah.
it's important for anyone who's listening to know that I certainly, and I believe Lisa also, you have to have a safety plan. I mean, if you're in a situation where your life is in danger, like right now,
Mm-hmm.
that's different. But the reality of it is, you know, long before they put your head through that wall, that this is a bad situation.
Yeah.
You know that he or
Yeah.
she's getting ready to hit me. They're getting ready to do something to me. You get this thing where you know the body language, you know the tone of voice.
It's a habit. It's a cycle. You know what it looks like.
So you know it's coming back around, especially if you just got some flowers or candy or something. Just know that something's coming on the heels of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you need a plan. And I tell
Yes.
people this, you need a plan if you intend to stay.
Yes, absolutely.
Even if you decide, I'm just going to stick it out, you need a plan. You
Yes.
need a plan so that you increase the likelihood that you can stay alive.
I tell them that all the time. Little things like stay out of the kitchen. Make sure that you you have a secret cell phone. Keep something. All of those things.
Right.
People don't think about. You're absolutely right.
They don't think about it. You can put money aside just a tiny bit at a time. Not even
Correct.
noticeable.
Correct.
Not even noticeable. Get a burner phone. Get one of them.
Yep.
Radio Shack.
Yep.
Get one of those phones. There are things that you can do.
Yep.
How would you get out of a specific room in your house?
Yeah.
Where do
correct. Stay out of the kitchen.
Stay out of the garage. You know what I'm saying? Stay out of these places where there's no window, there's no door, there's no exit. If there is a weapon in the home, right?
Yes.
So yes, I'm an apostle, and yes, I'm a gun owner. I'm a military veteran. I'm not afraid of guns. But there's a 500% increase in the likelihood that somebody is going to die.
Period.
If there is a weapon in the home where domestic violence takes place.
Period. That's it.
Because again, we're talking about the escalation. Yeah. And after a while, you run out of places to go. There ain't but so much put my fist through the wall I'm going to find emotionally satisfying when I'm trying to control you. Because the last time I put my fist through the wall, you left anyway. So I need to top that now.
Right.
In terms of range.
Or they pull the gun. They pull the gun and threaten me. Wow. So what makes you think they're not going to use it next time?
Right.
And can I just say, and I know this is going to sound really simple, but that's not love.
It's not love.
I know that's like, oh, well, of course. No, it's not.
It's not love.
No one who loves you will do that to you, will treat you like that, would mistreat you.
No.
They won't. That's not love.
No.
And that's not loyalty.
It's not loyalty.
It's not loyalty for you to continue to stay there. It's not. I just had to say that for whoever may think that I'm just being loyal. I love them. No, that's not love.
No.
I challenge you to love you more than that.
Right.
Yeah.
And people will say, well, how do I forget about him or her? How do I not hate them, or how do I stop loving them? And my response to that is learn to love yourself.
Yes.
When you truly can love who you are, you won't appreciate anybody even thinking about trying to mistreat you. That will be a non-issue. As a matter of fact,
that'll fade out.
You be able to smell that. It's like, no. So I challenge people to do this. When they talk to me about a relationship that they're in, that's like turns into this horrible, the head is spinning around and it's spitting out green stuff situation. What is the first indication that you had that this was a bad idea, this whole relationship thing? And when you land on it, push yourself even further, because that wasn't even the first time. Take that back as far as you can take it. What was the very first indication you had that this was a bad idea? Because I'm going to tell you something. There's a point of you hit this point of seemingly no return. You hit this point of seemingly no return, and it's because you've ignored all these other signals, right? In countless cases, the perpetrator has a history of domestic
Yes,
violence. There was the case,
absolutely.
I think it was in Detroit. It was so sad. This guy killed, he tortured his wife, killed 4 children. How do you individually kill 4 children? Like what?
God.
Like four
And
separate
it's
killing people?
getting worse, and it's getting worse and worse and worse, because now you're taking the children with you.
Right.
It's
You're
just
doing this and you're doing it so the mother can see it. You purposely didn't kill her
correct.
because you wanted her to see you kill everybody else, right? But then come to find out that she came from her father was an apostle or a bishop. I'm like, there's that once again. Once again.
Yeah.
Our traditions and our thought process, if we don't apply it appropriately, will make us a sitting duck for the enemy.
Yeah.
It will just make us a
Yeah.
sitting duck because
Yeah.
we begin to excuse things. Well, and this guy had served time for killing his first wife.
Oh my
Hello,
goodness.
don't call me. I'm glad that you accepted Jesus as Lord, so you say, and I'm glad that you sorry about all that. But we ain't getting married. We ain't doing none of that.
Oh my goodness. I think you just hit on a great topic with the history of the person.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they have a record or not, there's somewhere somebody has a story or an incident.
Yes.
Look at the way that they have a relationship with their mother. Oh, they have children. What's the relationship with the ex children? For mine, I had heard stories about it, but he told me it wasn't true, and I loved him and I believed him. Of course, they weren't true. I mean, how could they be true? You know what I mean?
Couldn't
They
be.
were absolutely true.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
they were
And these are the
absolutely
most
true.
charming people on the surface. They're so
Oh my goodness.
they all
The most charming people.
They all
And you just said, if you look back at some of the beginning things, you notice like, oh, the control. Oh, you don't, you really want to wear that? You probably should wear the jeans, or I don't really like her. You probably shouldn't hang out with her too much.
right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
There's little things
I don't want you to
that we
I don't want you to
yeah. Oh, he just loves me so much. Oh, they just really care.
take care of you. You just stay home.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
go
Oh
to
gosh.
school. You don't need to go to school. I make enough to cover
No.
both of us. We're in this
Yeah.
together. Okay. No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
All of those are red flags.
Yeah.
All of those are red flags. Okay. And so again, we people of faith, we need to do a better job. We need to really listen. I saw Dr. Ashley Folks said on here that we see a lot of times, but we aren't concerned enough. I'm paraphrasing.
That's good.
We don't care. We're not concerned enough. We're not concerned enough. And then Cassie mentioned, she said that we need to do less talking and more praying. And I would take it a step further. We need to put some feet on those prayers because we are the Lord's hands and feet in the earth.
We are
supposed to be looking out for each other down here.
Yeah.
And I can't look out for you if I'm looking away from your situation. And so I would challenge everyone that hears this to consider, why have I not done more about this? If this thing is so prevalent, and 1 in 4 women and 1 in 7 men are victims of domestic violence, I can't get in line at the grocery store. I can't go to the movie theater. I can't go anywhere. I can't go to the beauty parlor,
to church,
shop, to church, right? Somebody within arm's reach of me probably is either a victim right now or has been a victim.
Correct. Period. That's a fact. It's a fact. Right. It's a fact. It's indisputable. It's a fact.
It's indisputable. It's a fact.
Yep.
So who am I helping?
And what am I doing about it?
What am I doing about it? Right? Now, having said that, I don't want anybody to throw on a cape and go run up it and act like they're Thor or somebody, okay?
Yeah.
Because
don't do that.
You do put yourself at risk.
You are.
Put yourself at risk if you are identified as a source of support to someone who is a victim. Anyone who's going to strengthen them, undergird them, encourage them is going to be considered the enemy. is going to be considered the enemy, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we need to think about, right, our degree of involvement. And if I'm the kind of person that I'm afraid of about your person coming after me, what are the ways in which I can help you? There
Right.
are ways that I can help you without putting myself directly in harm's way, right? Now I've had people live in my house. This is, I think the last 2 years was the first 2 years of my life that I didn't have somebody living with me. But for years, people would live with me, and there were people who were coming out of domestic violence situations, and they were terrified of their exes. Well, I wasn't terrified of their exes, and I told them, listen, you love them. I don't even like them, so they really
Yeah,
need to
right.
come to my house. They don't need to come over here. They don't need to come over here. If I die, I'm going to heaven. I know where I'm going. I'm not worried
Yeah,
about.
and it's true that advocating for people is it's a dangerous. What we do is dangerous.
It is. It is. But it needs to be done. But
Absolutely.
but we need to be able to do some introspection and understand, where am I? What how helpful can I be? There are lots of ways that you can be a help. You can
Mm-hmm,
support organizations who have boots on the ground, who are
yeah.
actively engaged, who are actively involved, like Stand Up Survivor, right?
Mm-hmm.
People who are
Excellent
committed
survival.
to raising awareness. You can
Mm-hmm.
enroll in our online courses. You can educate
Mm-hmm.
yourself so that you know what to say and what not to say. How many of you know what to say to an abuser? And how many know what not to say?
Good question.
What is the worst thing that you think that you've heard that's been said to an abuser? How did it affect them?
To an abuser or a survivor?
Survivor.
Um, honestly, and I know this is gonna sound weird, you should just leave. Or shoot, or why don't I'll kill him. I'd shoot him.
Right.
Or let's go over there. Let's go over there right now. I got your back.
Right.
Wait, what?
Right.
No. And it sounds crazy, but just leave. A survivor, we know that if they could just leave, they probably would just leave.
They would just leave if they could.
They could just leave. There's not many of us that can just pick up and leave anything that we're doing in life.
Right.
So to say that to someone who's not just in love, but in love, have family, children, roots, to say just leave, to them it's like what I just said to you, you didn't even hear anything that I said.
Right. Which is what brings us back full circle to why a safety plan needs to be put in
place
so that you are better positioned to leave if you need to leave. The case that I referenced with Karen Smith, she had left. And it's interesting because they had been separated for several months, and he was still posting pictures on social media like they were.
Wow.
Because appearance is everything to an abuser. Appearance is
everything.
It
is.
Paint this picture, and they don't want anything offline in this picture,
Yeah.
So she had left, but she went to work.
Yeah.
And he knew where that was.
Now I'm going to stop it because it sounds simple. What do you think she was supposed to do?
Right.
One of the most dangerous things you can do is just keep going like you didn't just leave a man who's been abusing you.
Right. He knows
I know you got to work.
Right.
He knows where you work. No one knows the problem, so the supervisor's not going to say, "Hey, come on in." I think about that teacher we talked about just now. Oh, her husband's bringing her flowers at work. Let her pass them through to the classroom or whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And
no one's going to think anything
he
of
was
it.
there to drop something off. He was there just to drop something off.
No one would think anything of it. Now, was there something like a safety plan would include letting your supervisor know, your managers know, having something in place, maybe having you in a different location or a different office.
Right.
Safety plan. Safety planning.
Plan is critically important. Critically important. Even if the victim plans to stay, even if you feel like I am not quite ready to do this yet, you need a plan. You need a plan to stay alive in the house with them.
In the house. Yep.
I
think we need to do a video on safety plan, even if you want to stay.
Even if you want to, because neither one of us is saying, well, just get out of there no, we're not saying that. And we get it. We understand.
Yeah. We want you to leave and get to safety, but you may not be ready for that. It took me years to leave. And even after I left, I went back because you have to leave when you're ready. But I got to the point where I said, he's going to kill me. And I knew it. I knew that he was going to kill me. And so whether intentionally or unintentionally, so I had to make a decision. You know, I knew that I had 2 young children. I didn't want anyone else raising my children. I didn't want my children to be on this earth without me. So I had to do something different. And I
Right.
didn't want my son to repeat the cycle that
Right.
his dad was doing. So it was up to me to make a choice. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
So
Right. So yeah, we absolutely should do one on safety planning.
I think so too.
We should do one on safety.
I want to before I want to touch on something before I forget. I wrote it down right here, but you said you talk to people all the time who are concerned about loving themselves and how do they love themselves again, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it just kind of reminds me of you start to love yourself and your love meter goes up. It sounds really simple, right? And your love for them, not that it necessarily goes down, but it becomes, wait a minute,
Right.
that wasn't even healthy. So while that goes down, the love for yourself goes up.
Right.
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 And if you allow God to just to heal you, you know, and to love you and to show you his love, because the Bible talks about the love of God. It talks about the relationship between a man and a woman. It says nothing about being mistreated this way. So you're like, wait a minute, that wasn't even designed. I wasn't even designed to be treated like that. He loves me like I'm the apple of his eye. It just becomes this revelation of who you are, who God intended for you to be, how he wants you to be treated. Right. And while, you know, I may always care about you, there's no way that I would let, you know, my husband knows too. Now I'm like, it was no way ever that I was going to ever allow myself to be mistreated again, ever.
No.
Not yelled at, not talked to, wrong, nothing. No. Because I found my worth after, and it wasn't easy. Right. You know?
Right.
But it was a journey that was worth it.
Right. It is worth it.
And I encourage every woman to find that exact journey if they're in that relationship.
Right. And understand that there's a tendency to gravitate to the one thing that you felt like you were starved for, especially if you've come out of an abusive situation.
So true. So true.
If your ex always called you out of your name and talked about your mama, but this new person doesn't, right? He actually listens to me. But what else is he doing? You know what I'm
saying? He listens to me. He's so nice. He saw me at my worst.
Right. Well, what did his exes say about him? How did he treat them? Does he have children? Does he take care of them? Okay. Right. You know, and so we get fixated on the one thing that we felt that we were deprived of. And we ignore the ski mask hanging out the back pocket, and we ignore the long rap sheet because, you know, Jesus can save anybody. We ignore all these red flags, and you reach a point where you actually step into a danger zone, because when you're dealing with a person with an abusive personality, it has nothing to do with, it's not about you at all. It's not about you. They did not involve you in the conversation. They did not consult with you before they got all fixated on you. Right?
Correct. And it has nothing to do with you.
It has nothing at all to do with you. So this is why you cannot influence it with a conversation once that thing takes off. And so,
listen, let me tell you something. You could preach on that it's not about you. Women think, oh, well, maybe if I just dressed differently or lost weight or looks prettier or did my hair or whatever, he wouldn't. Let me tell you something. It happened with the woman before you.
Yes.
It's going to happen with the woman after you.
Yes.
So it's not about you. Get over yourself. It's nothing that you could do to change this person.
Nothing.
It's an individual problem. So while you're killing yourself trying to become who you think that they want, you're never going to be enough because they're not okay with themselves.
They're not okay with themselves. And they can't believe that you are truly okay with them anyway. So here's the
thing. They have very insecure.
And when they know that they don't deserve,
very insecure.
I can't believe that you would stay with me, right? I can't believe because you know I shouldn't.
You must be cheating on me. You must be cheating on me.
Right.
So you do everything in your power to prove that you're not cheating on them. It becomes a crazy cycle.
It becomes a crazy self-deprecating cycle. I think one of the things that God did for me throughout all of that craziness was I never acquiesced to this whole not working thing. That was just drilled into me. That I just never acquiesced to that. And so what it did was it put me around people. And I've always worked with mostly men, right? So it put me around people that I could get a positive affirmation from. So I would get this negative on one hand, but then I would get 10 times the positive on the other hand.
Wow.
It kept me from falling head first into that whole negativity. You aren't this, you aren't that, because there was always something countering it over here. It's like, wait a minute. Why am I so successful over the only place I have a problem on the planet right here?
At home. Wow.
So that to me kept me not taking the bait. You know what I'm saying? Not swallowing that line and sinker. So I'm grateful to God for that. And this is why not becoming isolated is so important.
Yes.
When you are, the only input you have is from the abuser. You don't have anything to counter it. You don't have
Yeah.
anything to compare it to. And all you're hearing is
Mhm.
about your deficiencies, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And there might be a kernel of truth in the deficiency. Maybe you did burn the eggs. Okay.
Colonel. A colonel.
Kernel. Maybe you did burn
Yeah.
the eggs, but that doesn't mean that you did it on purpose or that you're a horrible cook and that you don't care about them. And so
Mm-mm.
they'll take a kernel and just embellish it
Yeah.
and embellish it, you
Yeah.
know. So remember, everyone who's listening, if you've just come out of a relationship, sit with that hurt, sit with the
Oh,
pain, with the
yeah.
disappointment, just
Yeah.
sit with it. Please, please,
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
lot less painful because this is what happens.
Mhm.
You don't leave an abusive situation and then get into another abusive situation that's less abusive. I don't know why this is,
Yeah.
but it's
Well,
a,
he doesn't hit me. He's verbally or whatever, but he doesn't hit
but
me.
he doesn't hit me yet.
Oh God.
Yeah, because you stay long enough, he will. Because he won't
Oh
get any
yes.
satisfaction or she won't get any satisfaction out of just calling you names.
Mm-hmm.
Partially because you become accustomed to that and they don't get the same emotional reaction that they're accustomed to
No.
getting.
No.
So
No.
now they have to up the ante, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, in terms of, well, God can save everybody. Yes, he can. You let him save them and you go on with your life.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
In this day and age, I would say do a background check. I mean, you can get a background check on anybody in this day and age.
Yeah, you can.
Please check these folk out.
Yeah.
Check them out.
Mm-hmm.
And do not take the pastor's word. This will not be popular. I'm saying it anyway. Do not accept the bishop, apostle, pastor, church mother endorsement. Do your due
He's so
diligence.
good. He's a good guy. He is so nice.
Right,
She is so sweet.
right. There ain't none of them live with him. They don't know what he
No.
does after the
No.
door closed. You know what I'm saying? If you feel rushed, oh, he swept me off my feet. Now I need both my feet firmly planted on terra firma.
Yeah, correct. That's good. Yeah, that's a good one. That's
I
good.
need to be enamored with you with both
Yeah.
feet firmly planted on the ground. Okay.
Yes, correct.
I
Correct. I
need
need
to
to make
be
a
indoors,
conscious decision about
right?
this one.
Seeing stars and hearing angels singing all this. No, no, no. We're not doing all that.
Mm-mm.
We're not doing all of that. You need to be able to withstand the scrutiny
Okay.
of daylight and a sound mind and a sober thought process.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so when we feel rushed, if you feel you're getting all this excessive attention, he calls me
Mm.
every few hours. I talk to him every night before I go to sleep. He calls me every morning before, okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
cage is being built around you.
Yeah.
What's happening?
That's
Okay.
such a good analogy. That's such a good analogy. Oh, well, we talk every night at 10 o'clock. What happened tonight? What happened? What do you mean? You don't need to go out with your sister on Friday night. You can stay home and talk to me. This is what we do. So, like you said, slowly but surely, a cage is
Slowly
being
but
built.
surely, sure.
And you don't even realize it.
Don't, and it feels flattering at first.
It does.
So when I think about the negative situations, some of which we've talked about, the cases where one partner has ended up killed or whatever, I find myself wondering, what point was the point of no return? Something as simple as if I didn't go on that second date with that joker. Something as simple as if I had not accepted that phone number. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What was the earliest point at which
Yeah.
all of this could have been
Yeah.
avoided? It's just as
Yeah.
simple as that. And so these moments that are potentially life-changing moments don't necessarily come with horns blaring and
Yeah. So true.
lights. It's just as simple as when you turn a corner in a relationship. So
Yeah.
if you stay in it long enough for them to feel that they've invested, now they feel that they've invested something in you. It doesn't matter how you feel about that investment. They feel like they've
Mm-hmm.
invested a lot and now they own you. You understand what I'm saying? And so we've got to
Mm-hmm.
pay attention to our relationships, how we're interacting with others, how we're allowing them to interact with us. Don't make any public service announcements. I'm summarizing. Don't make any public service announcements about you crazy. Or we not doing
Yeah.
this. Okay.
Still dangerous.
I think I shared a few months ago that I dated this guy. I said for about 5 minutes. It was longer than 5 minutes, but I was throwing off. I'm like, listen, nice looking, tall like I like them, tall. I'm the nice looking, smell good. a perfect gentleman, perfect gentleman. And I just kept feeling like something is wrong,
Mm.
and I don't know what it is. There wasn't anything that he did that I could pinpoint, right? But
Mm-hmm.
all right, and I'm thinking, it's okay, I'm gonna keep praying, but I'm gonna really. Then I started feeling rushed. Like my jobs, you work in mental health. It wasn't nothing for me to work 13, 14-hour days. Okay, I don't expect you to do a cartwheel because I work 13 to 14 hours, but I don't expect a full blown tantrum.
Oh my.
I work. I'm thinking, there it is. It's showing up
Mm-mm,
now.
mm-mm.
It's showing up now. It's showing up now.
But you know what's key for that too is you were able to see the red flag
Mm-hmm.
because you've allowed yourself to get to a point where you know what they look like and become aware of what they are.
Right, right.
You know,
It's like I'm not
and
going that. I smelled this
mm-mm.
before. And here's the thing. Sometimes we'll get that sense and you don't know what it is.
Yeah,
That is not the point at which you dismiss the alarm. You don't
right.
dismiss it and
You
say,
ignore it. You don't ignore it.
right, you
No.
don't ignore it. You don't make excuses for it. Oh, he had a bad day. You don't make excuses for it.
Mm-mm.
But and here was the clincher for me. Now he was an apostle. How
Mm-hmm.
you gonna get upset because I have to go to prayer? I'm confused. I'm confused.
Yeah, me too.
I'm confused about an apostle that's anti-prayer enough to have to think
Mm-mm.
about it. I'm like, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't make no public service announcements. I just disappeared.
Yeah.
You don't have to make no public. Listen, you don't have to meet with them to have closure. Let me just say this. I'm gonna go talk to him and tell him that it's just not working.
Woo.
Do that. Don't.
Listen, that could preach. Listen, oh my goodness. You know how many, if you just turn on the news, well, she just went to give him back the engagement ring, or he just wanted to say, we'll meet one more time, or I want to give him back his stuff. Never came back.
Never came back. Never came back. Don't.
Never came. There was one recently, they went to exchange the child in front of the police station. He shot her right in the police station parking lot. So they're it's getting ruthless
Mhm.
and they don't care anymore.
Don't care anymore.
So no, you don't go meet them alone. And they had family. She had family in the car. She didn't go alone.
Right. 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 Don't go.
So
He's my advice. Don't go.
don't go.
Don't.
There's nothing they need to say to you. If you need to
Mm-mm.
change your phone number, you know,
Mm-mm.
I'm telling you.
I
But
got.
that's a whole nother show because
Right.
there has to be steps that we that we can teach people to take to become safe.
Right. Just to be safe and to
Just to be
understand
safe.
how these things play out
Sleep.
over and over and over and over. But he gave.
Like for example, don't take off the restraining order. You put one on it. Oh,
Don't take.
like you don't fell off the chair. You see,
Right.
why follow through with it?
Right. And don't violate it. Don't you
Oh
violate
my
the restraining
goodness.
order.
Well, I know he misses the children, so I wanted to make sure that he was able to see the children.
And my question is, did he know he had children that he might miss before he punched me in my face?
Talk to me. Talk to me now.
Or did these children just appear? Post abuse. It's
Yeah.
So we've got to stop making excuses, and collectively we just have to do a better job, I think, of taking care of each other, right?
Yeah.
And we've got to do this again so that we can help people to understand
Yes.
how to stay safe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Safe until they are ready. And again, neither one of us is saying you should leave, and we're both saying don't make an announcement about that you plan to leave.
Yeah, we want you to leave. We want you to be safe. We want your children to be safe. We want you to do it in a safe way.
Right.
That's what we're saying.
Right.
We want you to do it in a safe way.
And for those who are wondering, well, is it possible for it to work out? You know what? The cycle, it's not going to work out with you. Let me just put it like that.
Yeah. Well, there's a percent. The percentages, I think it's very small.
It's not worth you your life over. And the reality of it is, if they respected you in the first place, if they valued you in the first place, they would never have breached all of those boundaries. And it's something about it's like stepping in dog poop. That's what it's like. You step in dog poop, right? It's not a very romantic example, but this is true. You step in dog poop.
That's funny.
You wipe your shoes off, right? You find some grass, you rub your feet, you try to get rid of it.
Yeah.
You get in the house, you still smell dog poop.
Still smell dog poop.
You take the shoes off, you scrub them, you still smell dog poop.
Good
Maybe
point.
get rid of the shoes. Just get rid of the shoes.
Yeah.
You're gonna
And it's change. We wouldn't be Christians and have faith if we didn't believe God could do anything. I absolutely 110% believe that God can do anything. But I can tell you that you can't change him
right,
or her.
right,
So if you need to be separated and you allow God to work on them, that's them. You can't do anything about it.
you can't do
You
anything
can't.
about it. And
You're killing yourself trying to do it. You can't.
right,
You can't. It has to be a decision that they make, that they decide to change.
right. And even then,
Mhm.
they probably won't do it for you.
They're not. It's not about you.
No, they already know what
No.
they can do with you. They've already done it with you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. And they know you still love them and they'll probably come back.
Right.
So it's not about you. If they genuinely want to change, it would be all about their decision to do so.
That's right. Did anybody have a question that they wanted to throw up before we go? Any questions?
Thank you for having me. I just love it. So good.
No, we've got to get a handle on this. It's bad. Okay. Ashley folks said, I don't owe you. What does that say? Kelly, what's it say?
I don't see any comments.
Wait, let me see what it says. It says, oh, I don't owe you closure more than I owe myself safety.
I know that's right.
That'll preach.
Yeah.
That was Dr. Ashley.
Yeah. I don't owe you anything, to be honest. You took so much from me.
Right.
That I owe myself way more than I could ever. No.
Right. And so we want you all to know that you have value. You have value, but you have to understand that you have value, and you will never come to that realization if you stay in a situation that is constantly depleting you and beating you down and beating you down and beating you down. And I want to address one more thing. A lot of times survivors will say, well, my family is pushing me away. Or I'll have parents say to me, I'm watching my son or my daughter go through this abusive situation. They come home and then they go back. They come home and they go back, and it's exhausting, and it is. Healthy boundaries. Understand that when they leave and come to your house, they probably going back. They're going to probably go back. Yeah. You need to be prepared mentally that they are going to probably go back, right?
Yes, I absolutely agree.
Until they're ready. Because when you think, okay, I'm opening my home to this person, I'm letting them in, they're going to start over, it's going to be okay. You know what I'm saying? And then they go back. Now it's a personal front. Okay, now they've done something to you. They've hurt you personally. They've hurt you personally. And so the boundaries are too porous under those circumstances. I say don't give
that's really rough. It's really rough. But I always encourage people, answer the phone anyway. Because you never know when the day you didn't answer the phone is the day that they needed you to answer the phone. They were ready to leave.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So answer the phone, but just figure out, what can I give you? What can I offer you? Okay. Maybe I can put you in a hotel room. Maybe I can, you know what I'm saying? Because until you're ready to leave for real, you're putting everybody around you at risk.
In danger. Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So how can I help you? Right? Yeah. I told one young lady who stayed with me, and she was terrified. I remember picking her up. He had thrown all her stuff outside, and she was shaking like a leaf. She was so scared. And I said, well, if he has any discernment at all, he's not coming over here.
Because I'm not scared of him.
I don't even ain't no way. I'm not scared. Okay. And I don't want to have a prison ministry from the inside. So he need to know.
Okay.
You don't need to come to my house. But these were the guidelines that I gave her. You don't have to worry about me putting you out. Okay. I know you've been through a lot. However, if you tell me I heart him, I can't do without him, you getting out of here. Because he's not coming over here. He's not welcome here. He cannot come here. And I'm not telling you don't be with him, but you can't be with him here. That's what I am telling you.
And you put me in danger with that cycle.
You can
put me in danger.
Be here with you. He can't know where here is because I'm not you, and I'm not putting up with all that he did with you.
Yeah.
Okay,
so those days are over. You don't want to mess with a strong survivor. You don't want to do that.
Not doing it. So I appreciate you so much. I'm going to be doing these weekly.
Okay.
So you feel if you want to do it next week, we can do it next week, and we can talk about safety.
All right. Well, you let me know what we're gonna talk about it. Let's do it.
Safety planning.
Okay, safety planning, in and out.
Yep, we can do
In and
safety
out.
planning. Okay.
All right, let's do
So
it.
you all
And
go to Stand Up Survivor Facebook page,
yeah,
and
yes.
wonderful organization. You can enroll in our courses at Anointed Fire Empowerment Courses. You can share posts when we post. We each post things about domestic violence all the time. You can share a post. I mean, you can click the button and share. Raising awareness is a huge part of this, and creating a platform where we're able to have candid discussion, I think, is also important. So I know I'm going to be starting a closed Facebook group specifically, and we can start more than one if we need to, but I know that I want to start one specifically for people of faith, some place where we can go and have a candid conversation about what our struggles actually are around this time. You know, where we
Really good.
can mask, I'm an apostle, I'm a prophet, I'm an evangelist, I'm the minister of music, okay, and just tell the truth. After the benediction, I'm getting slapped upside my head.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah, yeah,
Well, he or
yeah.
she didn't like what I was wearing. He or she accused me of cheating. They cussed me out all the way home in the car. You've got to be able to tell somebody the truth.
Conversation needs to be had. Yep.
Right, right. And get some support and know that there's a safety there, okay? Because it'll be a closed group, so nobody can come into the group unless they're allowed into the group. And I don't play that. I'm not. I'm researching and doing my due diligence.
That's right.
Coming in here with no foolishness.
Because I think for us, you know, as advocates, number one, our safety, your safety is our number one concern. Our safety and your safety.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. We want you to be safe. However long it takes you to recognize that you're in an abusive situation.
Yep.
Recognize that you need to exit. However long that is, we respect that takes however long it takes, and that's completely up to you. My concern,
our goal is to keep you alive.
To keep you alive so that you can have a decision to make, right?
Yeah.
So that you can have a decision to make. So, all right. Did anybody put any questions up?
Nope.
No questions. We got a lot of good comments. Dr. Ashley Folks said it's not going to work out with you. Wow. It won't. It won't, because they have no respect for you. I referenced my dog poop example. They have no respect for you, you know.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you'll have survivors get upset when they see the abuser go on to someone else. 9 times out of 10, they gonna catch it worse than you caught it.
Listen, let me tell you something. I don't have it already. I know what it looks like. So I wouldn't recommend it. I don't advise it, but that's you, you know?
That's you.
So absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. Again, it's not about you. The abuse is going to continue until they get help.
Right.
So you really could pray for her, feel sorry for her, try to help her. Other than that,
that's it.
Can't do anything about it.
That's it.
Yeah, it's going to continue.
That's it.
It's definitely going to continue.
Okay. So we have a statement here. I'm interested to know what you recommend someone do that is leaving but does have to return to work, school, children's activities, etc. We are going to come on. Are we coming on next week?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Next Tuesday.
Well, we're going to talk about safety planning and some practical things that can be done regarding that. Those are good questions. Good questions. This is the person.
Maybe we can hit that one first on Tuesday.
Yeah.
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 Because you have a life, you have children, you have church, you have family, you have work, and all of those things. And that's what safety planning is, put some barriers in place. Are we going to the school to speak to anyone? Do my supervisor, the security at the door know? All of that. How many times, last statement, do they go to supermarkets and the person at the register is getting shot by their spouse, or they went into the building and they're shooting up everyone in the building to get to their spouse? It happens. So we want to make sure that there's safety precautions in place.
Right. That people are aware. And again, so you've got to step out of that place of embarrassment, and shame that this is happening to me. This is happening, in my life, and have that plan in place. And one of the things,
because there should be a plan in place at the job. There should be something available for domestic violence survivors to get some kind of help or guidance at the job.
Right.
On how to keep you safe.
Right.
Because I'm sure that they would rather know than to have this person standing at the door, with a weapon of some sort.
Know that they shouldn't. You know what I'm saying? And this person should not be here. So
correct.
If they see them, if they even see them, that's a problem.
If you see them, a car in the parking lot, call 911 immediately.
Right. Then that's a problem.
Safety planning.
Right. And so that's an excellent question. So we're going to talk about safety planning next week.
Yay.
Whether you plan to stay or whether you plan to leave. Okay, all the
we want you to be equipped. We want you to be equipped either way.
Either way,
in the
right?
journey.
And know that there's help out there, that you are not alone if you are dealing with this, whether you're a person of faith, not a person of faith, you are not alone. Is it scary? Absolutely.
Terrifying.
Does it feel daunting? Absolutely. Can it feel overwhelming? Yes. Are your concerns unwarranted? No. No, there's some very real concerns, whether you stay or whether you go. What we want you to know is there's life on the other side of this. And we want you to know this is not what God intended. He did not intend for you to be mistreated, called out of your name, embarrassed, choked, kicked, punched, threatened, whatever, financial abuse, whatever it is. That is not his plan for your life. All right?
Yeah.
What he wants is for you to get your life back and to begin to live a victorious life.
Yes, absolutely. And you know, it's so funny because life after is just it's so sweet. It's beautiful. You know, I got remarried in 2016 and it's like, wait a minute. What was I was wasting all these years with that? You gotta be kidding me. I mean, and I always say if I knew what was on the other side of my pain, I'd have left it a long time ago. If I only knew.
Right.
If I only knew that what was on the other side of that. But we have to allow ourselves to get there first, to give up the pain.
Right.
You know?
To relinquish that. And sometimes we wear it like a coat.
Yeah.
It's familiar.
But wait, there's like love and happiness, and you don't go to sleep fearful at night anymore. You're not covering up holes with pictures, that kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Explaining bruises.
I digress.
Yeah. So join us. Are we going to do this Tuesday next week? Is that a good day?
Yes, ma'am. Same time, same place?
Same time, same place? Okay. And hopefully the lawnmower guy will be riding around out back on the
Funny. Well, thank you for having me.
No problem. No problem. Blessings to you. So join us next Tuesday night, okay? And we'll do this again. All right. Good night.
Good night.